to the Cinementalists. Noun, plural. Definition, those whose love for movies runs so deep, they can't help but do a podcast about them. Hosted by Colton Robertson and Joseph George.
Hello everybody and welcome in to the Cinementalists, and happy Juneteenth and happy Pride Month today. To celebrate, we are discussing Moonlight. It was released on November 18th, 2016, written for the screen by Barry Jenkins and Terrell Alvin McCraney, and directed by Barry Jenkins. I am Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you, and we have got a fantastic film on the docket today. A Best Picture winner, including a Best Picture fiasco that will live in infamy. But we'll get to that later. This was a first watch for you of Moonlight, is that correct?
Yes, it was. Very first time. All the rest of this month, or the whole of this month, will be first watches. And yeah, this one, the only one that I sort of knew anything about because of the award debacle. But no, yeah, this one. It was it's tough. I guess it's one of those movies that you might not want to really see the events play out in front of you, but then once you get through it, it's all worth it. It's good. It's the good bad cry, or the good. I don't know how to explain this weird feeling of like bad. It's bad, but in the best way.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. It's one of those things where There's a rawness and a realness to it that ultimately just makes it hard to watch at points, in the way that, like, it's so deeply emotionally affecting that, and it comes from such a genuine place. It's not fantasy. There's no this would never happen. No, this routinely happens. It's not like it's something that we are complete strangers to, and that makes it a beautiful movie, and it makes it one that hits a little close to home at times. I adore it. This was my second viewing of it. I think this is our second Barry Jenkins movie of the year. He also directed If Beale Street Could Talk.
Okay.
That's yes, we got a little bit of a
connection.
I
was wondering if it was
there.
my first of his
Barry Jenkins. No, it is not. Yes, we have in fact covered a Barry Jenkins. So that's the second time this month we are revisiting a director with a movie we've already covered after Luca Guadagnino's Queer and Challengers, and then If Beale Street Could Talk and this. And both were holiday movies, so that's cool also, but neither here nor there. I love Moonlight, man. I think it is, just an unbelievably gorgeous movie also. On that If Beale Street Could Talk episode, I spoke to the color palette and how warm and orange and that movie was, and how it was a stark contrast to the blue, cold feeling of Moonlight. And the soft blue, cold feeling of Moonlight, I think, is a really important emphasis there. I love how soft the movie looks, and thematically, it tells its own story in that regard. In that softness, but God, it's beautiful.
Wondering, because the one shot, a traumatizing moment for him when his mother is yelling at him, is one of the only ones that's like specifically not blue. It's just the pink coming out of her room, and I wondered if that was just because the rest of the movie is so blue to have this stand out even more. just to throw another color kind of out of there. But no, it was just cold, he's very kind of cold from the world. The world has made him cold. He barely talks, he's a man of few words, but it's like, I love that this is like an example of, not that, how to say this? It's like anyone in the world can be gay. I'm not trying to say that there's like less likely of a chance for someone to be gay, but like people who appear as hard, or they want to be tough, or want to be man, whatever sort of
masculinity,
thing. And whether that is a cover up for just conforming to the world, and you want to like let people know that you're not gay and that you're trying to shoot, or if you are, you can be masculine and gay at the same time. I don't know. So it's like this.
They're not mutually exclusive properties.
A very weird balancing act to try to find whether it's, who you truly are versus like who the world is kind of making you be, or if you are kind of conforming to the world, whatever. And I thought like that was, I feel like, showcased here, and not too much. I don't think it was the main kind of focus, but
I think it's a pretty massive focus. Unless you're about to pivot a little bit. Sorry, go ahead.
I guess it was. I think the more story that I grew up like or was feeling the whole time is just that it stuck with him his whole life, no matter what he kind of did. And it was just the one line that I kept coming back to is the line that Mahershala Ali told him. Maybe it was right after they swam, I think.
Yeah.
But he was just side. Like, he just said, like, at some point you got to decide for yourself who you're going to be, and you can't let nobody make that decision for you. And I guess, yeah, it is probably the main story of just conforming or not. Now that I am kind of thinking about it, but yeah, it's just he didn't. I don't know. I love that even at age, how old is he? Whenever we first see little,
whenever we meet him as little, I mean, like, real young. I would go 8.
Yeah, and even, at that point in his life, and he's already knowing there's something there, but like they telling him, no, you don't have to quite know for sure, but like it's crazy that there is this kind of, I don't know, innate
understanding,
a feeling, like in your bones sort of thing.
Well, but, and there's an innate understanding all around him also. Juan knows. Juan has no doubt about. And his mom knows. His mom, whenever she confronts Juan and is like, "Are you going to tell him why all the kids pick on him? Are you going to explain that?" Another one of those just really, really brutal scenes where I love Juan. Juan is as admirable a character as exists in any movie, and I love that they depict him as also as he's trapping now. Like Black is at the end of the movie. I think that's a really, really brilliant choice where you're just kind of going like sometimes you just end up places. You choose who you're going to be, and you be that person, and like you see the cyclical nature of that in Chiron in Black, and you see him become following Juan's footsteps a little bit, and ultimately we realize that it leads Juan to the end of his life, which is devastating also. And thinking about the impact that must have had on Chiron, where that was his most prominent masculine figure who was very, very supportive of him and continuously there for him. It's really affecting, and I love. This is just a, similar to If Beale Street Could Talk, a powerhouse of performances. Mahershala Ali is perfect as Juan. Naomi Harris is perfect as Paula. All three of the men or boys who contribute to Little, Chiron, and Black are perfect at maintaining a sense of continuity. I love Janelle Monáe. She is always going to be one of my favorites. Teresa, who obviously you would have seen most recently in Glass Onion. Okay,
that's right. I was because I guess Janelle Monáe I know from Hidden Figures is like what pops out. I feel like just the most. But yeah, okay, Glass. I was trying to find something newer there. That's a lot better.
She's also a music artist, and she's fucking incredible. That's neither here nor there, but I mean it is relevant. She's great, or they're great. I apologize, non-binary
and just
actor there.
Incredibly attractive woman.
Unbelievable.
I feel like even the boys are like, oh yeah, that's why you go hang out over there all the time. Or like, well, you getting like they thought he was actually getting stuff done.
Yeah,
well,
I think they knew that he wasn't, and that was part of the teasing. If
I would, holy crap, blah blah blah. Yeah, but the dang bullies in school. It's like, I feel like that was the most brutal part of the movie.
It's really hard to watch whenever they're chasing him around at the beginning of the movie, and they make him hide out in the fucking the crack den, and it's hard to watch, man. It's one of those things where like and you're just so thankful whenever Juan does show up, and he's like, no, it's all right, it's cool, I'm gonna go out the front door. He immediately presents this soft niceness that you love to see. That sequence in the restaurant immediately after, where he takes the food away from him, and Little gets real upset. He goes, no, man, I'm not actually going to do you like that. Come on now. I'm just trying to get you to talk. You know, like, I love that. It's one of those things where he is fundamentally just as perfect a role model as you can possibly have.
He kind of does that later on whenever he's actually selling drugs to some, I don't know, random kid. And he's like, oh, the count's off, you know, or whatever. He's like, oh, no, man, I'm just fucking with you. You got to know whenever people are fucking with you if you want to, you know, be a part of this life. And I love that kind of balance of they still are in the crime world, but they're like the good people in it. And it's not like, it's more of that their environment is kind of pushing them into this life, and that it's like, and in Beale Street Could Talk, it's like one of the main, that's the main story, is like how prison and how like the system is keeping people away from love, or like how the, you know, the love through the glass plane, or what, like we were kind of talking about. But here it's like, yes, they like, let's see, I'm trying to think of, because I know that, like, I feel like I want to call him Black. I don't know. Chiron feels like the most correct because, like, he hates Little. Black he actually kind of likes it because Kevin just gave it to him. But I feel like he was kind of like, any nickname at all, it feels kind of weird for Chiron. I don't know. Even Hazard, like, why you call me that? You know, Black, I don't know. But Chiron, I feel like I want to call him that. But like Chiron and Kevin both went to prison. So I guess they don't even really play it. It's just like, yep, we went there, it happened, and I got out, and here's where I am now. It's just like, it's part of life.
Specifically Kevin, you know, I went away for some bullshit, you know, like we all do, which is really, really, you know, a throwaway line that is really, really important.
Like,
and you know, I became a line cook, and I really took to it. So now this is what I do. And I really, really love, I mean, Kevin's presence in the story is perfect. In contrast to Chiron's, you know, he's much more able to allow himself to conform, and to try his best to fit in. He's willing to, you know, knock Chiron out if it comes to it, which is, that's one of those most heartbreaking scenes in the movie, especially on the other end of the scene on the beachfront. Which is just a gorgeous, gorgeous sequence of self-actualization, and you know, for a very brief moment in Chiron's life, he got to be him, you know, for a little bit, and
that moment on from what they're in middle school, is that, or no, that's high school? Are they in high school then?
It'd be
so
early
it's
high school
then. Yeah. So and then, but from that moment on, bro hasn't been with anybody else, or at least touched in that way. You know, he says he's, you know, which I think, I don't know. I feel like he just hasn't. Yeah, it's not even been a thing in his front mind. You know, it's just he's just been trapping, and that's just it. Or like he can't do anything about it. Like he can't,
100%. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, and I do think it's something that he, like. I love the depiction of the jump from Chiron to Black is one of the most interesting parts of the movie. Like, we don't actually see him choose. You know, we don't see him choose. Well, actually, we do see him choose. It's the moment he wakes up the next morning after getting his ass kicked and hits the dude over the back with a chair. That's the moment he decided who he was.
True.
He decided who he was, and that was that. You know, after that, he is Black. And I do think that there's a significance in, you know, saying after that he's Black. I think that there's an interesting idea of blackness that it's automatically hard. It's automatically, you know, you're automatically hard. You're automatically masculine. You're automatically, you know, you are, you know, the stereotype is you don't fuck with him, you know? And he presents as a man you don't want to fuck with, you know, like that is absolutely the case. And he has such a softness to him. I love whenever they're on the beachfront and he tells Kevin, you know, ooh, I cry so much. I feel like I'm just going to turn to drops, you know, that's a vulnerability that he doesn't display with anybody. You know, whenever at the end he looks at older Kevin, played by Andre Holland, who I love. I love Andre Holland. He's also in Bones and All. He was in a movie earlier this year from Sundance called Love, Brooklyn. I can't wait till that gets a wider release. Great rom-com. Rom-com dramedy sort of thing. It's a great movie. But regardless, whenever he's like, "You don't know me," and Kevin's like, "I don't know you."
Yeah, he's like,
I might be the only one who knows you, bro. Like besides his mom, I like that fundamentally. The people who do know him, we get to see their relationships with him. Juan, his mother, and Kevin, and I love the payoff of his mom's journey. That's one of those. That's one of those stories that might get lost in the shuffle relatively whenever you're talking about this movie. I think it definitely didn't stand out as much on the first watch to me as it did my second watch. And that part where they're at the rehab facility, the clinic, and she's like, I'm sorry, and he stands up and hugs her. Oh my God, it fucks me up, man.
Yeah, you're right. It took up until that point for me to really get any. I mean, it was more like seeing how detrimental her drug problem and just their relationship and how broken their family was. That was just bad, and I don't know. It caused some tear ups every now and then from it. But when it got to that point of their just it was ooh. I mean the cries in this movie were, I don't know.
They're poignant. I watched it on my lunch break yesterday. Do not watch Moonlight on your lunch break. That's a bad idea.
Hey everybody, it's doing great today. How are you doing?
It's so beautiful though, man. It's one of those ones where there's this strange hopefulness at the end, where again it emulates what happened on the beachfront. You hear the waves again as he lays his head into Kevin's shoulder, and they just sit there in this intimate moment. The softness. It's not passionate. It's not aggressive. Nope. It's not. They're not going for it. It's not like fuck it, let's do it. Yeah. No. I haven't let anyone touch me like that in years. What I need is for you to be here for me. It's and I appreciate that Kevin understands that and is willing to, give that to him. Trevante Rhodes and Andre Holland's chemistry it's so perfect. And I think that Trevante Rhodes, if I wasn't going to give my performance nod to Mahershala Ali, as I think he's just too goddamn good not to, it would go to Trevante Rhodes. There is the depiction of his repression as performed by Trevante Rhodes is just so good. The amount that's brimming beneath the surface for him is unbelievable. I don't even really know what performance to even compare it to, where at any given moment, funny in a completely different way, maybe the only one I can think of is Lena Headey in fucking Game of Thrones, which is high praise for me.
Wow.
Where you can always tell there's something else going on behind their eyes. And they're not, and it's completely different ways, he's not letting it come out of fear of out of fear that it'll overcome him. She's not letting it out because she's hiding shit on purpose. It's a different thing, but it's still there's so much brimming behind their eyes, and the way that he manages to, whenever he lets it happen, and he says, I haven't let anyone touch me like that. I haven't been with anyone since then. That's he almost blurts it out. It's almost like it's a stark change in subject. They hadn't been talking about it. It's just like, check this out. I'm gonna be real with you because I'm gonna let myself be real with you, and I want you to be here for me. And just that display of vulnerability is, I mean, it's the payoff of the film. That's what you've been longing for the whole time for him. The ability to, again, be him. And this isn't one of those movies where I want to speculate what happens next, because I don't know. I don't know. Does he end up self-actualizing? Is this him allowing himself to be himself, or is this another brief moment like the beachfront where he gets to briefly be himself and then returns to his normal life?
Yeah, it's, I mean, 'cause Kevin is like, oh, you're trapping. That is not you. You know, it's like he gets it or whatever. It's part of their, I don't know, just it's part of life.
It's
just
a cyclical thing. Yeah, it happens.
But like he's like, oh no, man, like I can't believe that. What are these fronts you're wearing? Like, what are you doing? This isn't you, man. And then I feel like that whenever he did say like no one has touched me in so long, you saw like he did change completely. The way he looked, like moved his eyes, he was like nervous. He was like, and just like, oh man, I'm out.
He becomes like sort of, he looks like Chiron.
Yes,
like he literally starts to look like the actor who played Chiron in the middle of the movie. I don't know
how they did that. I don't know how they do this of finding 3 different humans that all just instantly you're like, oh yeah, that's for sure just the same person.
It took me an unbelievable amount of time to realize that the poster for Moonlight is all 3 of them.
Yeah. That's why I was like, crazy little tangent is that my Letterboxd subscription ended at some point. I don't know what the date was, and
it would have been the anniversary of the podcast on May 27th.
That's right.
That's when I gave it to you.
Okay. So yes, but I guess this was the first time that I noticed that I couldn't change a poster. And then I looked at all the rest of the posters, and I'm like, "Hold on a minute, maybe
it is the best one. They cooked with the default.
And then because I think the first act is I just love it. It's got Mahershala Ali. It establishes everything, just the foundation of all of his fears and anxieties, and just his identity. It's just all set right in the first act. I think it's incredible. But whenever you were talking about how like Trevante Rhodes like has this performance to him, I thought that middle Chiron, Ashton Sanders, like the middle age was like it's probably more of a director thing, just kind of telling him when to be quiet and whatever. But like I don't know, like I thought like every step of the way, like they did just a phenomenal job of having that like he wants to say so much but isn't saying a single thing at all. Like I don't know. That's what everyone knows him for, is that he doesn't talk at all, whatever. But like, I don't know, just watching the whole time, like there's just so much cooking.
There's so much inside of him. You're right. Ashton Sanders is and so is Jamel Jerome, middle Kevin. I love that actor. I love what he does in that section of the movie. I think that their chemistry is as palpable as Andre Holland's and Trevante Rhodes, and they have that interaction when they're youngest, where they really set the stage for who Kevin is. With you got to show them that you're not soft. Yep. You know, like you don't got to be hard. You just got to show them that you're not soft.
Yep.
And that really sets the stage for how he approaches life from then on until he has his kid. And then he allows himself to be soft. I love that idea that they ended up in complete opposite spots that you'd expect for them, and them kind of meeting again. The last act is really, I mean, like you said, the first act is the heart. It's the heart of the movie for me. Like you said, it sets the stage. Mahershala Ali as Juan is just the perfect stage setter for what you want for Chiron to like realize, and then he accidentally doesn't do it, or not accidentally, he purposefully doesn't do it. It's devastating, There's a poignancy to the last act that I absolutely adore with we're with them for like the last 35 minutes of the movie.
Like cooking the meal, and
it's like
when
two.
He shows up.
It's like two locations. We're in the restaurant, and then we're at his place for like the last 35 minutes of the movie. Like that's a lot of time in a movie to just be talking, And the way that they play it, it's not like a typical reunion scene where. They do play on like typical reunion scene tropes where it's like, oh wow, it's good to see you again. Then they have like a little spat, and it's like, oh, why did we even do this? Da, 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 da. And then it's like forgiveness, and they do that in a very unique and beautiful way. I love the. I just adore that scene, and I think that it's so expertly written. And like you said, with the performance from Ashton Sanders, and I pointed out Jarrell Jerome, and that's one of Barry Jenkins' greatest strength as a director is directing actors. You know, with If Beale Street Could Talk, you know, going back to that, Kiki Lane and Stephen James and Coleman Domingo and Regina King and all of these. He's directed 2 supporting actor Oscars. You know, Mahershala Ali won an Oscar for this. Regina King won an Oscar for If Beale Street Could Talk. And Naomi Harris, I believe, was nominated for an Oscar for her supporting performance as Chiron's mom.
Wow. Okay. I mean, everyone, they were on their game. That's for sure. I wish some. I feel like Mahershala Ali, like he did. I don't want to say he didn't do a great job, but like because he did. But like I feel like it takes away from like Black or Chiron a little bit. Of just like having like, damn, well, you got Mahershala Ali in your movie. Sorry, and he happened to be in like the this beautiful first act of like him just taking Chiron swimming, or whatever, and like that. Just that little moment was awesome. And then
Moonlight,
the talk.
Black boys look blue.
Oh man, yeah. This talk that he had of whenever like Chiron is like, okay, like you sell drugs, yep. He's like, my mom does drugs, yep. He's like, or like, what does faggot mean, And he had to have that whole explanation. He's like, okay. Like he knew what it meant. I assume, after his mother's yelling it at him, he knew it probably wasn't a good thing. But then you saw like his reaction of just when it was confirmed, he was just
right.
like, oh my God. And then it's like that. I mean, it's these, I think that's why the first act hits so much harder, is because like whenever I do see Trevante Rhodes or like even a little bit more grown up, it's like, well, it's like this is an adult dealing with the problem, the same problems. It's like, but whenever it's just put on a kid, it's like they know nothing. It's like they're just so innocent. It's just he's wanting to be who he is, and it's just the world kind of telling him no. And that, I don't know. That's why I feel like it just hits a little harder for me at the beginning, but even at the end, I wondered if this part was scripted or not. Whenever Trevante Rhodes, he's like, he just starts the meal, and like one black bean falls onto the table, and they say something, or like, oh yeah, I saw that. He's like, oh no, I saw that. I saw that. I wonder, like, it seemed so genuine. It seemed so. I don't know. It could be scripted, waste,
can you? Yeah,
but I don't know.
I don't know how you. I thought I had the same thought. I was like, that felt too real to not have just happened. And I don't know what the significance. Like it was just one of those moments where you have 2 actors who are on their game, and they're doing the fucking thing, and they kill it, man. That's why I have a tough time not gravitating to that third act as the payoff to everything that happens in the first 2. Like I love the setup, but the follow through really, really lands for me. I just the inability for Black to let it go,
Yeah,
nor should he let it go. I'm not trying to say like it's a bad thing he can't let it go. No, he shouldn't be able to. That's he needs to work through this shit. So whenever Kevin calls him and he gets in his fucking car and drives, like I love that. Like he's like Kevin's like, so you just got my call, hopped on the highway, and got out here, huh? And he's like, turns up the music.
Yeah, like that is what I did, but obviously I was thinking of more. It's like, yes, I did just make the quick choice, but no. Yeah, I saw my mom, sure. But no, I feel like, this is why I'm here. And man, that. Well,
and the way that I think that kind of, that apology was so massive for him, I feel like. It's clearly not the first one. I think his mom,
like she's tried,
she's repeatedly tried to reach out and repeatedly tried to be there, or tried to make amends. I think, and I think this is the first time that it really lands. Maybe it's the first time he's allowed it at all, but I don't get the sense that him and his mom aren't on speaking terms. Like he does pick up the phone. He's like, "Mom, I'll be there tomorrow." And then it is Kevin. So like, I think that in a weird way, this conversation coming right after a call from Kevin is what makes it land so perfectly.
maybe the detail is his mom is like, well, have you ever thought of talking to somebody about not being able to sleep? You know, your own mother or whatever. And it's like, well, obviously I'm not going to talk to my mother because like you're kind of the cause
are the
of,
reason I can't sleep.
Like,
yeah.
So, and that's, I mean, he goes to Kevin and has the talk. He is vulnerable with Kevin and has, you know, can actually have a moment of peace and comfort. And so it's like this. So many different things that are going on. It's like the cyclical crime kind of story that's going on, but just in the background, kind of. And then also this you're a guy, your mental health doesn't matter. You have to be hard. You're masculine. It doesn't matter. And even whenever he does hit that bully in the back with the chair, the counselor, after he's in trouble, is like, oh, well, if you were a man, there'd be 4 other people in here right now with you. And it's like, what are you, like, you're actually saying that I should have had, like been stepped up to a 1v4 and beat, you know, had them all. I don't know. It's like even whenever
she's telling him to rat.
Oh, of just say who it is. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes
say,
more
if you were a
sense,
man,
actually.
you'd tell us who did this. And she's trying to pressure him
charges.
into.
That's right.
Yeah, she's trying to pressure him into that.
Okay. That makes
well, and she even makes a lot of, you know, I'm not trying to undermine your struggle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and again, that's one of those things where it's like, man, you got to be a little more responsible as a counselor. I think, you know, like you can't just, you know,
Well, I guess she has no idea that he's gay, or that's like kind of the crux of like the argument. Because he even says like, you don't know, you know, you don't know, or you don't understand something. You don't. And she's like, oh no, trust me, I do. She's like, because this is her job. It's what she deals. She just thinks it's just a run of the mill, just, you know, boys being boys, whatever. But like, it's because of everything, I think, and that's why he's just like, no, you don't. That's why he breaks down. He's like, oh, I can't explain it to you. There's nothing I can say to kind of, I don't know. But,
well, and that's, to me, that's him going, you don't understand. Immediately after that, he turns to black. Mm-hmm. He's official, like, that's him going, you don't understand. I will never be who I am now.
Yeah,
you know, like
finally didn't let him. It was
this just changed everything for me. The only man, the only boy I've ever been vulnerable with and let myself be with, just hit me in the face 3 fucking times, and then I got beaten to a pulp on the ground. Oh. I have no choice but to not be me. And I think that's a like. So whenever he's saying, you know, you don't understand, like, there's obviously a lot more going on than she can possibly fathom. And obviously, given the trajectory that Sharon follows, he's already kind of, I feel like he's almost kind of seeing his future before it comes to pass a little bit in that moment. Like, it's kind of like, you don't understand. Like, this is it. It's over. Like, any hope I had of being who I wanted to be is gone.
Gosh, man, yeah, it's like, it is, he does make that decision, like, he is the one that kind of is making that decision, but it's still, like, ultimately his environment. Yeah, it's like, if all of these factors were taken away, you know, if all of just the social bullshit, I don't know what to call it, just the social constructs, social, you know, whatever, the rules that we put on to our lives, if all that's just gone, do Kevin and is it even, I don't know, I feel like Black, I don't know, Black is like, it's why I feel it's weird calling him Black, because he chooses it even though it's like wrong for him, and like it's even his license plate. Kevin is even living right near the beach in which they had their interaction, so it's like even Kevin can't quite leave the relationship still, even though he has a kid.
That's what I'm interested by, is that he like co-opts the name Black for his hardened persona, but it is still fundamentally sentimental and fundamentally like a callback to what Kevin called him. You know, like it's not like it's not like it's him going, nobody's ever called me this before, this is what I'm just going to go by now. No, like, he got that name from Kevin. That was something Kevin called him. So like there's something again obvious, like it's his vanity plate. It's like it is his identity now, and that is intrinsically tied to Kevin. And I think that's a that, you know, for all he does to harden himself, he obviously is not that guy. And I think that's I think in Black, I think co-opting the name Black is kind of like a lifeline a little bit that allows him to claim the smallest part of that identity.
Yeah.
In a way, just and still be hard. Like and like I mean it in the smallest way. Like I'm not trying to say that there's even like even he might even be consciously thinking that. Like I think that that's kind of just something that happens. Dude, I just it's one of those movies where I've only watched it twice and I almost don't feel like I don't feel like I am adept enough to do it justice in a conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those movies that I feel like I would need to watch multiple times before I could really, really speak to every little bit of it. Just because, again, and that's weird because on paper it's a coming of age story. It's a relatively simple movie. It's a really straightforward 3-act structure. It's not a story that's hard to wrap your head around by any means. It's just one of those ones where, you know, I spoke on the Portrait of a Lady on Fire podcast about how everybody should try to expand their horizons. And we talked about being in touch with our femininity. And what I'd said that what the root of that for me is art, you know, being able to access other people's lives through art. It's the only way, you know, I could be as empathetic as possible. I could be the most empathetic person on earth. But the only way that I'll ever know is when I know. And this is one of those movies where I'm exposed to something here that I, having grown up in white suburbia, I've never really ever truly been exposed to, you know? And it's one of those things where, you know, it was a similar thing with, you know, Boys in the Hood and Blind Spotting and, you know, movies like this where fundamentally I can wrap my head around the queer experience, but I can't wrap my head around the black queer experience. You know, it's not something that I've had the pleasure, or not pleasure, but the experience in, you know, it's just one of those things where, and seeing it depicted like this, it's the closest I'll ever come, you know, it's the closest I'll ever come to understanding. And I think that that's the beauty of this movie is that it's so, it's trying so hard and succeeding so well at depicting a vulnerability and a soft spot and really just knocking it out of the park and making sure that you understand Chiron. And I think that's such a, I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful character piece. Definitely as far as character pieces go. Man, amongst the very best. Like it's when it comes like that's what I also pointed this out in the Portrait of the Lady on Fire episode. We're dealing with a ton of massively different movies. The slate of movies we've had so far in Portrait of a Lady, Queer, and now Moonlight, they're not even close to one another. Like there's almost nothing comparable about them beyond the fact that there are characters that are gay. You know, like we don't get nearly as deep a look at Marianne or Eloise, and we don't get nearly as deep a look at Allerton or Lee. You know, Chiron is far and away the most specifically crafted and well-rounded and explored character we've had the pleasure of viewing this month. And gosh, do all three of those actors, the act, you know, we shouted out Ashton Sanders and we shouted out Trevante Rhodes, but there's a heartbreaking presence about the Alex R. Hibbert is the actor who plays Little, born in 2004. My boy is 21 now.
No way. He was the young Oakland kid in Black Panther. So yes, like the kids who are on the basketball court whenever the ship appeared and they're like, oh, that's kind of sick.
That looks like a Bugatti spaceship. Yeah, that one.
Okay, wow. Yeah, but all casting is crazy. Just how they all, it's okay. A weird thing that like they all have the same head shape, the back of their neck, or like they have this shot that they go back to of whenever it's just like purely side profile.
Yeah, the profile.
And like they have like the same posture or like the same like, and it's how do you do that? It's like
it's really incredible. It's really incredible casting, and I'm assuming that a lot of that also has to do with physical performance as well. You know, I do think that there's a certain aspect to it that, you know, again, Barry Jenkins probably does deserve a lot of credit for that. he's an incredible director of actors, and I think that especially when you are working with young kids, and not specifically young kids, even kids aged around Ashton Sanders' age, like that's, there are kids who are prodigies at acting and can figure that shit out, but at the time that kid was probably 19 when they filmed this. He's still that's a young dude. Okay, he was in the Wu-Tang show. That makes sense. He played the RZA. Okay, he's the lead in that. I was like, why do I know him from something else? That's it. But that's a really, really great show, by the way. But I just think that Barry Jenkins' ability to get it out of the younger actors and to have Ashley or Alex Hibbert acting across from Mahershala Ali and Janelle Monáe, and really just nailing it. Like he belongs on screen with them. With Naomi Harris, he belongs on screen with them, and it's perfect. And that is a directorial thing. I think Barry Jenkins really just. I cannot wait for him to make another movie. He did this. He did If Beale Street Could Talk. Then he did the Underground Railroad series for Amazon, which is I've heard great things about. I've read the book that it was adapted from. Loved it, so I can't wait to watch it. And then last year he did the Mufasa live-action Lion King movie.
I see.
Lined his pockets. He gets to go do some good shit again. So I'm excited. I'm excited for him to return, if you will, to whatever he's got in store for us, because the 2-movie run of this and If Beale Street Could Talk back to back is, I mean, about as good as it gets back to back.
And you were talking of how we can understand sort of more of the queer side of the story, but the black side of the story will never kind of be able to quite get that or hit the same. But it's like through this movie, not to say that I understand or whatever, but I am
the closest
closer,
I'll ever get.
Yeah, I'm closer to getting there, and that's crazy that like in the queer or the gay struggle, maybe why I just love the gay community so much is that it is a community. It's like a people just realize it's like, yes, we are all so different. We all come from so many different walks of life, but the queer struggle of this story, take out everything else, is the universal kind of part that no matter what skin color, no matter where you come from on the earth, no matter what your gender is, no matter everything, it's like this is the struggle that kind of is universal, or you can pull something out of and to
and to speak to that, what I really love about Moonlight is it's not aiming for universality. It's not trying to be relatable on a wide scale. It is trying to show you something you would not be privy to otherwise. And I think that that's beautiful, it's a rare coming of age movie that is not trying to be like, don't you see yourself in Chiron?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who see themselves in Chiron. I have no doubt. I certainly don't. I can't even fathom what until I watch a movie like this, I can't fathom what Chiron's life is like, and I really love that it doesn't attempt to be like, and we can all understand. I don't think that's the point of it, and I think that's kind of beautiful. I think it is trying to show you something, and I love the last shot. The cut from him with his head buried in Kevin's shoulders to young Little on the beachfront looking out over the water in the moonlight. Black boys look blue. He's
remembering
I think there's a certain,
or like what is,
I think there's a certain self-actualization happening, like maybe it's kind of he's forgiving himself, like forgiving his childhood self, like maybe he's looking back on his younger self and going like,
I am who I am.
I am who I am,
I wanted to be. Right
yeah,
now.
Like there's like in this moment at least, I am who I wanted to be. And I'm not saying, and again, I'm not going to speculate whether or not he is permanently going to be that person, or if he goes back to his life. But at least in this very moment, however brief, Chiron gets to be unapologetically him, and I think that there's a solace that ripples throughout his life for that. Like there's a kind of similar to the image of Eloise in Portrait of a Lady on Fire that we see. That is the last image we see of her, but it pops up earlier in the movie. It's or the last image Marianne sees of her. But I almost think that like the choice to have little look back is interesting. It's not like the waves are washing over. The connectivity of that being like Juan taught him how to swim there. He told him, you got to choose who you're going to be on the beachfront. Later on at that beachfront, he has his first experience sexually with a boy, and that changes his life. It sticks with him forever. And then he hears the waves. Even when they aren't there, he hears the waves. And the
breeze. Oh my God, yes. Isn't that just feel great? It's like, and then you feel it in the streets, and you just stop for a while, and it's like, being in the moment. I think, okay, I thought it was more of a Juan callback, but I think it is more of just a whole realization of everything.
Just together. Like you are. I think that every instance of self-actualization for Chiron in this movie comes on that beach. Comes on that beach side. And for the first time, it's happening somewhere else, and it's still there's a beautiful
the eyes of society. I don't know. Without it's like when the environment is not the block or the streets or whatever. It's like whenever you don't have to prove to everyone else around you who you are, because we don't even see Chiron or Black cry ever, but he says he does it all the time. Like we see a couple times him tear up, but he says he commonly like comes here, or like this is his spot to cry or whatever, and we never really see that. And it's just he's maybe that's to even show the viewer that he's trying to put this hard facade on even more, is that we don't even see him get to that point. But I don't know. I love the beach kind of connection that he does have, and then that one little like when he's going into Kevin's apartment, or like he's there and he looks, they don't even say anything. It's just Black. He kind of looks over. He sees the beach. I don't know if it is the same exact spot, or maybe it's just
right. I don't know that it is.
Know.
I think it's simply the water that is washing over, and it's close enough. It is. It's the Miami beach. But. There's like I just love how another one of my favorite little things is that there is an insecurity about Kevin that I really, really appreciate, even though he presents as incredibly confident and secure in himself. I think he is. But whenever he calls Chiron and is like, it's Kevin. And, Chiron's reply is like, wait, you remember me, right? Like, of course he remembers you, Kevin. Like, you are one of the most important people that's ever existed in his life. But I think that not only does that make there a certain insecurity about Kevin, I think it also emphasizes the degree to which he's had to convince himself what happened there didn't matter. I hit him a couple times, but the next day he retaliated on the guy that mattered. So there's a certain distance he can put in himself there, and then for him to apologize on that phone call for it, or not on that phone call, but apologize for it later on, be like, I'm sorry about that. It's a big payoff. Like that's a big for both of them.
The phone call was had, I was kind of like, don't run back to him, that was my first feeling. But then it was like, well, not really, because Kevin was just being pushed by the bullies to hit. It wasn't even really like Kevin.
He was
would
trying
not
to
have
conform
done that.
him. And there's a certain. I love the performance again from Ashton Sanders in that moment where it's kind of like there's an element to him that's like he's challenging Kevin. Like he's like, if this is who you're gonna be, fucking be him. If you're choosing, don't let anybody choose for you. Like don't let me stop you. If you're gonna be the one who beats my fucking ass, beat my fucking ass then. And it does break his heart, obviously. But
I think like it's crazy that like this external factor, like the environment pushing these people to do these things. It's not like explicitly like focused, and it's I don't know it because it is such a big part of the movie, like the external factors forcing them to do these things, but it's just I don't know. It's just like thrown in. It's
understood that it's just a part of life. You know,
Yes,
like
thank you.
and I think that's a beautiful way to frame it, and a heartbreaking way to frame it. It's part of what makes the movie as devastating as it is, and it's one of the things that makes Naomi Harris's character so devastating, is that that stretch. The way that her drug addiction cripples her and cripples her family and her ability to be a good mom is absolutely devastating. But if you have any understanding of addiction, you understand that it's a disease. You know, it's not something that she didn't decide one day. You know what? I'm going to get addicted to crack. Like, that's something I'm going to do.
Yeah. We don't even know what happened to Chiron's father, or at all. It's out of the picture.
It's not part of the movie. Yeah, it's not part of the movie, and I think that's another interesting choice as well.
The only father figure he has is supplying the drugs to his mom, and like so that's like it's like and then we don't even like see Juan I don't know. We just see Juan like walk away, right? And then like I'm trying to remember, did we see him actually die on screen, or was that's just
no that was just a part of the movie. We took the jump, he died, and that was that.
And it's just part of life. It's like it
just happens. Yeah.
And you would like I get the sense that like Juan is just like a Chiron, or like he doesn't want to be in this situation, but it's just the life that put him there. And like, you know, he has a really nice house. He has, I don't know, he doesn't have any kids, whatever, but like he seems that he has his life kind of figured out for the most part, as you can do selling drugs.
He does. And you know, like, and again, just part of the life, you know, whenever Chiron's sitting there, he's like, you don't sit with your back to the door in my house.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not something you do in my house. Like that's, it's just a part of his life. And I think that's there's a fascinating element to Juan wherever like, one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the movie is the conversation they have in the car that you were talking about, you know, when he asks him, you know, does my mom do drugs? Do you sell drugs? You know, like that's obviously not the last time that he sees Juan by any means. But it does feel like a foundationally
a switch happened there of like whenever it was like, oh, you're the one supplying. It's like it's not like on him. It's more that he's not pissed on him for the situation.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that I think by becoming someone who does sell, I think it's clear that he understood. Like he got it as much as he could. As far like, and there's almost an element too where he might be even retroactively trying to justify it. You know, like he was a good man, obviously, and that's the thing too, is that like there's nobody deals in absolutes. There's just like he does do this thing where, you know, don't do this, I'm gonna get it somewhere else anyway. You know, like you sell them to me. You know, like it's man, it's just a lot. It's a loaded movie, and I think that every single scene just is dripping with aura. It's a gorgeous looking movie. It's a beautifully acted movie, beautifully written movie. It's just generally a masterpiece, completely deserving of that Best Picture win in 2016.
Yeah, you're right about having to like. I feel like I do have to watch this multiple times, and it's not because, like you said, the movie's hard to figure out. It's more of just it's talking about very, very serious problems that we are experiencing in the world today. And it's like, and that's like, there's no, like with queer, there's kind of that, the ayahuasca side, or like this La Chimera, or this
mystical.
There's something else to it, which doesn't really take away from like the queer impact or anything. But like this, it's only a different.
Real. I mean, like All of Us Strangers, for example. You know, like that's a comparable movie to Queer. You know, like but it's still like this weird, trippy, artsy what's going on, what's real sort of thing, you know. This is just, there's no question about what's real here.
It
you
might
know?
as well be a documentary. You know, it's like, these people aren't real, but it's like this is happening in every city across America. And it's not just a gay thing. It's like the black part of the story is devastating. The gay part of the story is devastating. Just every part that you can pick out, it just is it sucks. But it needs to be shown, you know, so that because without, like, I don't know, my sheltered life growing up, I don't know, I can't even like my mother being like this, or having my parents like these are my parents' situation of not having a father, and then my mother turns into a drug addict, you know. There's no way I could even think of how that feels,
begin to understand.
And that's, you know, he's never home. It's why he never talks. It's like it's clearly like that has such a big impact on him. But then just not being able to be himself, you know, that even if he was in a sheltered family, or his parents were fine, his home situation was okay, he still has to deal with the societal pressures of just being gay, of just being queer, and living with that. So it's like, even if everything is going perfectly, it's still devastating. And then I don't want,
and that's why I do think that you don't understand scene is as fundamentally important a scene as there is in this movie, because, you know, she's not privy to his life. She doesn't. She can't understand. You know, and I think it's almost talking to the viewer, kind of like you can't understand. You know, like until you've lived it, you can't understand. There's a certain there's a level of entry that you just can't wrap your head around until you've experienced it. And again, this movie is about as close as most people will ever get. God, I love it, man. It's one of those. It's just a special movie where I want to watch it a bunch of times, but I can't. You know, like I can't do that.
It's gotta have some time in between each watch. I think a little bit. I don't know, some good things to take. Like, holy shit, Trevante Rhodes. God
damn.
I mean, even Kevin was like, "Yeah, it doesn't look like you miss any meals, man." Or like, you're looking fucking great. That's why I thought
Trevante Rhodes. I don't know how Trevante Rhodes isn't a bigger deal.
I mean,
this was a decade ago, man. This was 2016.
Insane. That's insane. Bro is like meant for the screen. I don't know. Like he just kind of had, I don't know, the girth, literal girth. Like, I mean, bro was just and metaphorical. I mean, he was just there. And
I don't know how he's not in more stuff, man.
This is 2016. Holy fuck. That just shattered my time. I don't know. That's crazy that this was that long. That award debacle was that long ago. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, that would have been 8 years ago. That would have been in 2017.
Still, feels like it's like 3-4 years. I don't know.
No, I mean, I might as well have just happened, man.
That's stupid.
No, it's crazy. It's stupid, but I love it. I love it. I don't have much else to say about it either. You know, I think that it's just a beautiful fucking movie, man. It's one of those movies that every time I watch it, the 2 times I've watched it, and every time I will watch it after this, it's going to hit like a truck. It's going to make me cry. Ugly crocodile tears. And that's just the way of it.
Hey, well, we got a Kansas City Film Critics Circle Award Best Film. You know, that the true winner that matters. And also a Best Supporting Actress, Naomi Harris. Tied with Viola Davis. Let's go for Fences.
Fences?
Two wins. I like that even more. And then it got the Tom Poe Award for the Best LGBTQ film. So that's as far as the actual awards that matter. No debacle. Or who knows? Maybe during the announcement they had something going on there too. Yeah. But no, I think we've hit the. I don't know. This is I mean, as far the third movie in, we're fucking cooking. These are not. These are all top tier movies that we are watching, and this one very, very deserving of everything that it got. That's for sure. After being on the other end of it, so
I think, and we're in for it with these last two as well. You know, tomorrow we cover I Saw the TV Glow. again, massively different movie. And The Handmaiden is as well. So we're in for it. Only 2 movies left here in Pride Month. It's been a great month, and I'm excited to get these next 2 under our belt. But in the meantime, I'm gonna do some plugs, and then we'll rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10. You mentioned the Kansas City Film Critics Circle, and I am making a concerted effort to become a member. And we've been talking about it for so long that I don't know if that was on the air that we discussed that, but I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's see. I'm gonna try to figure this out. So one of the things is that I have to write 25 reviews for in a year for movies that release in the year. You know, I've just got to keep up, and that's just one of the small things. Another one of the small things is that I need a lot of eyes on my writing. So, I'm on Substack. Look up Colton Robertson on Substack, at Colton Robertson on Substack. Right now, there's just an article for The Phoenician Scheme, the new Wes Anderson movie. I wrote a 1,000-word review, spoiler-free 1,000-word review, about how Wes Anderson is continually evolving as a filmmaker despite the naysayers who say he just keeps making the same movie. I think that's a dog shit take.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
poo-poo. No.
Yeah, and that is the thesis of the article, that he has continued to grow as a filmmaker and through the lens of what he does in Phoenician Scheme. So check that out on Substack. You can find it through my Letterboxd as well. You know, if you go to my Letterboxd, you can click on a link in my review for the Phoenician Scheme, and it will take you to that. So that might be even easier. Subscribe to my Substack while you're at it. That'd be helpful as well, so you can know whenever I post. Because I'm going to write a lot more, even if it's not strictly those movies or those reviews that I'm trying to use to get into the Kansas City Film Critics Circle Award. I need the practice anyway, so I might as well write about a bunch of shit. But my goal is to probably write about 1 movie a week at least, when I can. And I'm excited to do that. But yeah, so do that. Follow us. Subscribe to the Cinementalists on YouTube or wherever you're listening. Leave a 5-star rate and review and download. That'd be helpful as well. Downloads are the only measurable that I can keep track of, so I appreciate it greatly, especially whenever we get plenty of them. That makes me feel happy. Let's see, we've got a few other shows going on. We've got Fire Pod with me, a Twin Peaks podcast, friendly to the first time viewer and the rewatcher alike. We are almost halfway through season 2. We're getting there, and it's a lot of fun. I am the rewatcher. Joseph's the first time viewer. We're past a certain reveal. So yes. If you have seen the show, you can jump in wherever. If you have not seen the show, you need to watch it. You know, like, you should watch Twin Peaks regardless. Our podcast is just kind of a caveat. If you want to listen to it, you can. But regardless, you should watch Twin Peaks. We've also got Geek with Me, our nerd shit podcast. Before the end of the month, we are going to be doing a special Pride Month episode where it's a Star Wars draft, and the theme is that it's all color themed, and we're doing it based off the colors of the Pride flag. So it's going to be a fun little episode, and I cannot wait to actually get that recorded. Probably here within the next couple days.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, let's give this thing a rating. 10.
Ooh. Yeah. Well, we gave Queer a 9 or 9.25. Yeah, this one, it's on the same level as Portrait of a Lady on Fire here. This one, it's too. I feel like it's hard to tell of what movies will be a classic or talked about, in 10 years sort of thing.
Here we are 10 years later talking about it.
This one, there, I guess, boom, there you go. Here we are. It feels like a Boys in the Hood, I don't know, like at least a cultural, like, it's significantly important for the time to show what life is like, but then also just impactful enough in the movie's own right to just, it's reached that level.
Quintessential American cinema.
Yes.
Like, should be required viewing.
No Oscar, debacle, whatever. That's not important. I feel like that's what the movie will maybe be remembered for just right away for most people, or like that's what most people will think of. But I hope It gets just more people to watch the movie and to realize it's just kind of goated. It's just
that good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think gonna be pretty. I don't know. The ratings are gonna be pretty nice this whole month. I have a feeling.
Pretty nice.
But yeah, they're kind of easy here. I guess. No offense against Queer, but this one I did like it.
No, I mean it's a better movie than Queer. That's just kind of the way it is.
But yeah.
All right, 10s across the board for Moonlight. We've got I Saw the TV Glow tomorrow. I'm very excited for that. It's our first trans movie.
Yes.
We've done queer ladies, queer men, and now it's time for transgenderism. Very excited for that. Can't wait to talk about I Saw the TV Glow tomorrow here on the Cinementalists. So just come on back when you get the chance. So I think with that we can conclude this episode. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here, homie.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And remember, you ain't gotta love me, but you gotta know that I love you.